Hi folks, it's David Ostriker. It's April 5th outdoors here in sunny Karmiel. It's about 30 degrees, very sunny. We're coming to the end of Chol Moed Pesach, going into the final days of Pesach and Shabbat Shemini. You'll hear music and kids in the background. It's just part of Chol Moed. It's a really joyous time here. And it is reminiscent of what this season has always meant to be in Israel. The Omer, which we're going to talk about in more detail later, was at one time one of the happiest times in Israel. The period between the harvest of the wheat, of the barley, which happened on the second day of Pesach, and the harvest of the wheat, which was celebrated on Shavuot 50 days later, was a time of idyllic life in Eretz Yisrael. If you want to look at a film clip of it, just simply read the book of Ruth and you'll see what life was like then. Many things occurred and changed the nature of this time, which we'll talk about next week. This week, I want to wish you all well and remind you, since the holiday begins Thursday evening, we should all do Erev Tafshilin so that we can cook on the holiday for Shabbat. It's 2 days outside of Israel. It's a 3-day holiday in a certain sense. And here it's a 2-day holiday, the final day of Pesach followed by Shabbat. We read Parsha Shemini. Parsha Shemini is a very kind of mystical parsha. To set the scene, it's a glorious time. It's the time when all of the effort to build the tabernacle has come to fruition. It's come to completion. And they're about to inaugurate the Mishkan, the traveling tabernacle in the Midbar, in the desert. And moments before it happens, Nadav and Avihu, the elder sons of Aaron, make a decision to bring their own personal sacrifice to the Mishkan. They are Kohanim, they are priests themselves. And they decide to do this. Right? And they enter into the Holy of Holies, and what happens? They are destroyed. A fire comes and goes inside of them and burns them and kills them. Tremendous tragedy. Probably Nadav and Avihu were the ones who would inherit the mantle of leadership after the death of Moshe, their uncle, and Aaron, their father. Moshe comes to his brother, his older brother, and he says, "Brother, we always understood that God would sanctify himself through that which was closest and dearest to him. And it turns out it wasn't me and you. It was your sons." He's trying to comfort his brother. He's saying to his brother, it wasn't a sin, it wasn't an error, it wasn't a mistake. It was God's desire to have them close to him and to make the statement. Then, in a sort of business-like way, Moshe goes on to instruct that the bodies be removed from the Holy of Holies, that the events continue as planned, and that Aaron and his family are prohibited from mourning on this day. Aaron's reaction, the Torah says simply, Aaron was silent. As the day progresses, Moshe comes to find out how the sacrifices have gone and finds out that Aaron and his sons did not eat the sin sacrifice. He's troubled and castigates his brother. And now, Aaron is not silent. He tells his brother, "Do you really think that it is the will of God, the desire of God, that I celebrate joyously by consuming the Karban Chatas, the sin offering, on a day of such deep tragedy in my life, on such a day?" And now it's Moshe's turn. And he's quiet and he acknowledges that his brother was right. So it's an interesting package about the division of humanity and duty. Moshe represents duty in this, and of course he's very tempered by humanity. And Aaron represents humanity. He's a father who's lost his children. And yet, it's tempered by duty. He doesn't walk away from the responsibilities of the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. He executes them, he does them. But he tempers it so that the people of Israel, and also himself and God, know that this is not done with the level of joy that was intended. This balance that exists in the story between duty and humanity, between logic and emotion, between responsibility and personal need, is not unique to Aaron or to Moshe. It applies in all of our lives. Sorry, people are building. That's the song outside, the music over there. But this balance applies in all our lives. Our lives are filled with challenges, sometimes tragedy. And we have to cope with it, but we can't wallow in it. We have to overcome it, move forward, recognize it, of course, but move on because of others in our lives and because of our own duties. This is true on a personal, on a communal, and on a national level. There are many other lessons within Shemini, but I don't want to take up too much of your time because everybody's preparing for both the holiday and Shabbat. So I want to wish you a great Shabbos. Take it to heart the idea of this balance that exists, whether it's the balance of a parent to their children, husband to his wife, wife to her husband, to grandparents, to employers, and to your relationship with God. The lesson of Shemini is balance. We all need it. So I want to wish you an end of Pesach. Take the humility of the matzah into the world of leavening, into the world of bloating, and don't let it happen to you. Soon we'll be coming up to Shavuos, and in between are many of the holidays that recognize key events in the creation of the modern state of Israel. There's the tragedy of Yom HaShoah, followed by Yom HaZikaron, and then Yom Atzmaut, our day of liberation, our day of the creation of the state. At the end of it, we're going to come to, after Lag BaOmer, Shavuot. So have a great time now, and bring all the lessons of Pesach forward to the rest of the year. Shabbat Shalom, wishing you all of the blessings of Pesach and Shabbat Shemini. David O.